Welcome, welcome, welcome. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to Recovering Addict. I am your host, the Tizzle, Alcoholic Dizzle. Oh man, I feel bad tonight. Our triangle was kind of interrupted. Nicole could not go live because of something she's going through. I'll let her explain all that. And then Sober James, I think, forgot to put the 30 on his premiere. So he went live at the same time his video premiered, I believe. And kind of probably messed up his. I'm praying and hoping that he is not angry, that he's taking that character defect, trusting God that things are the way they are. That page 417 in the big book is come to life and in action, because I have to take the stuff I just said and apply it to tomorrow morning when my alarm goes off at 3:45 and go to work. Not excited, trying not to have that depressed feeling in my chest. And I don't want to go to work. There's a few reasons I don't want to go to work. I don't like being there, number one. I'd rather be at home doing my own thing. Hey, Raina. What's up, Murd? Hey, Mama of Kenny. Welcome, you guys.
Oh, I hear the hiccups.
Yeah, I know, man. I hope he's not mad. I hope he's got his destructive anger character defect under control. It was a good video. I watched it too. I made sure I thumbs up it, and I actually had watched it earlier when I was on a walk. I had it playing a little bit and then watched it again. So he's got 2 full views from my stream to help his. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you watch one of our videos, if you watch the whole thing all the way through, it helps the analytics and it helps that video actually go further than it normally would if you only watch 5 minutes of it or so. Ohio is shut down as tomorrow night stinks. What are they doing in Ohio? I saw that they shut the lights off in Vegas. I've seen that New Jersey, New York, California, they're all shut down. Our governor came out and was like, hey, go live life. And now we got, 10 people dead in Utah?
Oh, the first person died in Utah.
No, we had our first death case here in Utah, but it was an older fella. And he had he was already a sick guy.
I bought him his own.
And so he died. And then we actually have a confirmed case up where I work. I don't want to go there because I don't want to be there, number one. Number two, I watched the documentary on the Spanish flu, and I think it is the best thing to do right now. Just hunker down and just kind of stay safe, distancing from each other, and let it run its course. Let the heat of summer come in and kill off that virus and not make it worse than it has to be, and, jam up our hospitals and stuff. There she is. Dawn, you did it.
Hi, Dawn.
We are recording from the sober train. This is the recovery train. All you guys are on the back out there. You can't tell, but this is the train of recovery, and that's where we are in the great old state of Utah. No, I'm just kidding, Don. I have a green screen up, and I can put different pictures back here. And I got a picture to show you. I'll show you now. We'll wait for a few more people to jump on. But I was going through my pictures, and I found a picture of the very last night I was drinking. It's kind of miserable looking, sad and miserable. So let's say this together. Just for today. Tell yourself, just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living, and enjoying life without the use of drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me recover. Just for today, I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, I will try to get better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using and who have found a new way of life. So long as I follow that way, I have nothing to fear. That's for you, bud.
What are you drinking?
Dawn says she loves it. Dawn found us. She finally found us. I can't imagine what it was like, Dawn. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall when you were watching a pre-recorded live feed. and talking to us live.
Mr. Red.
That's awesome.
It's
John.
Link with
Had
a
me
Y.
rolling. What's up, Bob Smith? Welcome to the recovery train.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Red. It's Link with a Y. I don't know.
Link with a Y. So I want to go through chapter 5 of this book tonight. We'll do that after we get more people on, more hanging out, more questions rolling, read a couple more things of literature. But chapter 5, I read this today and it was mighty good. It's mistaken beliefs about recovery and relapse.
No, my neck is twitching.
So this will be one of the things that we go through today. So how's everybody doing on Sunday? Is anybody not working tomorrow because of what we got going on? He said sorry.
It's okay. Happens a lot.
That's what we get for giving you a weird name.
Thank you, Mom of Kenny.
Well, hello, Bruce.
Just for today. Nothing to fear. If you like everyone in AA, you're not going to enough meetings. I pulled up some blunt sayings regarding addiction and the recovery process. If you like everyone in NA, you're not going to enough meetings. I like that one. It's true. We all have different personalities. We aren't going to like some people and they are not going to like us. What's up, Alicia? Welcome to the recovery train. I'm your host, LT Weaver.
Oh, speaking of personalities, you guys have taken the 16 personalities test.
Oh, you're working from home? Lucky. Telework,
They
man,
won't let me.
alive.
I keep trying to convince them to let me work from home, but they keep telling me no.
On duty. Are you in the military, Bob? Sounds like a government word.
Hey, he wasn't kidnapped by ghost. Very glad that you weren't kidnapped by ghost. Bob.
Did he say that?
Yesterday, that weird woman and his Ouija board. And then all of a sudden he just disappeared and vanished.
He said that. I seen it on eBay. It was on eBay, slightly used, but still sounded good. I don't know if they did or not. I'm sure they will. It's their top priority around here to take care of them temples. They love those temples.
You gonna make some
What's up, Bruce?
Want some tea, Dad?
Restaurants are shut down. Man alive. Yes, please.
I'll be back.
No work. I seen a video, or she pulled up a video today of a truck driver. All the trucks are still rolling with their deliveries, but they get there and there's nobody to unload them. And they ain't got nowhere to eat. They ain't got nowhere to, do their normal stuff that they do and live throughout the day as truck drivers would. So the guy was kind of complaining about not being able to get unloaded and having to eat beef jerky and chips and candy bars for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That'd be frustrating.
Greenhouse and oh man, that's kind of sounds peaceful, Bob.
And humid
Humid and peaceful.
and warm.
It's been warm here. We went on a walk around the block right before we jumped on here tonight.
We did indeed.
That was nice.
You guys got to give me some motivation and inspiration for the Sunday night blues of having to wake up and go to work tomorrow, because I'm really not looking forward to it. Attitudes aren't going to be good. It's just going to be just the usual bunch of
It's going to be the same conversation for 9 hours.
same conversation, a bunch of nonners, bunch of normies, hanging out with a bunch of normies and a bunch of alcoholics who haven't admitted it yet. Fans have to turn. It's a big operation too, many acres. Can we come out there and live with you and work on your work in your greenhouse? I would much rather do that tomorrow morning than
I know what a greenhouse is.
go do what I
What
have
is
to
it?
do.
It's where the sun comes in and it gets stuck in there. And it keeps bouncing back and forth to raise.
Oh, you're a smart boy.
Thank you.
So check out this picture I found of my last night of me drinking. Go that way, Link. Hey, yeah, there you go. There it is. So I'm in my motorhome, and you can see the focus of the picture focused here. So I'm blurry in this dirty mirror. I'm sitting there, and that's my camera right here behind the microphone. That's my camera I took the picture with on my lap. And I drank, I'll bet you 5 or 6 of these over 4 days. Is that a half gallon, I think?
Yeah.
But I don't know what time it is. I don't even know what day that was, but I drank That's black velvet right there, and I drank a ton of them. And then that Monday, I went to the hospital and detoxed. Isn't that a sad, pathetic picture, though? Right there at the beginning. And I had already drank one, so I'm already. I don't even remember taking this picture, honestly. It was a surprise when I came across it. I was like, whoa, look at that. And I looked at the date on it. And the date said, let me see what the date was on that.
I'm gonna look that on the calendar.
If I can find it. What?
I'll see what day of the week it is on the calendar.
Oh, I gotta find it. It's probably clear back here. Oh wait, no, I can do by months. I know it's in August. It's got to be in August. Yeah, here we go. Somewhere in here.
Dang, these hair's gotten really long.
I don't know, but it was the weekend that I quit. August 10th, 13, 18, right here. Right there it is.
August 17th.
Let me turn the info on it. It'll tell me the exact date. That was August 17th at 10:02. Listen to the time. So I can take my picture and I can pull all the info, everything it was shot in, the camera I used. It was August 17th, 2019 at 10:02 a.m. So that was me, August 17th at 10 o'clock in the morning that day. Was that what day was that?
That was a Sunday.
Oh, so that was a Sunday. So that was so I probably had a couple of more of those up in the cupboard. And then that next day I checked myself into
So we went
detox.
to Michael's birthday. No, that was Saturday. And then Sunday you drank all day at Michael's birthday party. And then that Monday you went into detox.
We went to
That
a
was
birthday
that was
party?
my dad. That one with the swimming pool barbecue.
Oh yeah.
And you drank all the stuff and tried to play volleyball.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that was a mess. What's up, Mike Hawk? So if you just jumped on here, I'm showing one of the last pictures of myself drinking, and that's me right here with a half gallon of black velvet at 10 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, much better. But we've all been there, and that's why we're all here now. And the cool thing about these live streams is that we can connect in times of crisis. So that's another thing to be grateful for right now is our modern technology. Because if this happened back in 1918, holy cow, they couldn't do anything about it. They were miserable there. Guess what I did today? Call this sponsor.
Boom. Good job, Bob.
How did that go? Let us know how that went, Bob. What did you learn? What piece of nugget and information did he give you to chew on? What question did you ask him? And yeah, that's a much better picture. I agree. And what question did you ask him to keep you going? What were you guys talking about if you want to share? So many relapse-prone people believe that recovery is abstinence from alcohol and drug use, and relapse is the use of alcohol and drugs. You get that? They believe that recovery is abstinence from alcohol. So to quit drinking or quit using drugs, all of a sudden you're in recovery. And that because you use drugs and alcohol, you relapse. Thank you, Mert. I didn't see that comment. Bob says he had to talk to me about masochism. What's that word mean? I did fasting Friday. I got to look that word up, Bob. And if I could say it and pronounce it correctly, I would ask her.
Oh yeah, you can come back, Linky.
Tendency to derive pleasure, especially from sexual gratification, from one's own pain and humiliation. Okay, sadomasochism. I gotcha. That's what I thought, but I'm a bad reader and bad speller and all that kind of stuff. So how'd that go? Were you weren't whipping yourself or something in process of talking to him, were you? So what do you think about that? Just because you quit drugs and alcohol, that does not mean you're in recovery. And just because you go back to using drugs and alcohol does not mean you're in relapse. This leads many to believe that anytime they abstain from alcohol and drugs, they are in recovery, and anytime they return to alcohol and drugs, they are in relapse. As a result, they come to believe that not using alcohol and drugs is the primary task of recovery. The primary task of recovery is not just quitting drugs and alcohol. That's about 5% of it. In my opinion, that's 5%. Because once you're in a recovery program, once you're in an IOP, once you do inpatient, outpatient, once you are doing the 90 for 90, there comes a point in time, and I've heard this said before about other people, so I'm throwing it out there like that you forget, and I did as well. I forgot at one point that I was there because I had a drinking problem and was there to quit drinking because I had done quit drinking, and then realized that I needed to recover. And the recovery part was my thoughts, my habits, my actions, mostly your thoughts and your character defects. Here, you're in control of that while I'm reading. So recovery is not abstinence from alcohol and drug use. Abstinence is only a prerequisite for recovery. The actual recovery process involves completing a series of tasks daily that allow management of acute and post-acute withdrawal and the correction of the biopsychosocial damage caused by the addiction. In other words, recovery is a lot more than simply not using alcohol and drugs. If you believe that simply not using will produce recovery, you will be surprised at the dysfunction caused by the sobriety-based symptoms of addiction. You may also feel trapped and helpless because your mistaken beliefs keep you from finding a way to deal with these symptoms. Bed and nails. Dang, Bob, you're a freak.
Just kidding.
Yeah, so you were pretty much a dry drunk the first 5, eh? Merc says, I have 11 years clean, but I really only have been in active recovery for about 6 years. What clicked? What 6 years ago clicked? Like, wait a minute, I'm doing this wrong. You were probably, maybe I'm going to try to assume, probably still fighting with people, arguing with people, criticizing people, angry, impatient. All that stuff was still tearing you apart. You're probably maybe even depressed, anxious. I bet maybe those were some of the symptoms. Hey, Polly,
Hi,
you're
Polly.
here. I'm glad you're here because I'm reading this book, and I think we could both together learn a lot from this. I'm the problem. Paul is the problem. Drugs and alcohol was the solution. So I thought. Amen. We have a guy in at one of the many meetings we go to around here, and he introduces himself and says they've never named a hurricane after him because he caused enough destruction, so they never named one after him. And it was him. He was his problem. Many relapse-prone alcoholics. How many in here right now are relapse-prone? We're all prone to relapse, but there's people that are higher risk relapsers. We had a guy on the show 3 or 4 nights ago who I think he's a high risk relapse kind of person.
So far, what I noticed though, between the two people we did see relapse, is they weren't doing it for themselves.
Yeah, recovery. Your why. Was that James that was talking about that this morning? He did a live chat this morning for his buddies across the ocean. And was it him that was saying the why? You got to have a why. I think it was him.
I don't know.
What is your why? Why did you guys quit? I know we all had tragedies. We all had step one come to reality that our lives have become unmanageable. I get that. But what's the why? What's keeping you sober and what's keeping you in recovery? Many relapse-prone alcoholics extend mistaken beliefs even further. If you believe that recovery is abstinence from alcohol and drugs, then you come to believe that as long as you do not use alcohol or drugs, you will be in control of yourself and your behavior. If I quit doing this, if I quit doing that, then I'm in control. It's not true. You mistakenly believe that when you are sober, you are always in control. The only way to lose control is to use drugs and alcohol. This leads to the conclusion that any return to alcohol and drug must be the consequence and willful decision. Relapse, therefore, is a conscious and deliberate choice. It is assumed that as long as you choose not to use alcohol and drugs, you will maintain control and will be fine. So let's review the sequence of the mistaken beliefs. So recovery is an abstinence from drugs and alcohol. That's mistaken. And relapse is alcohol and drug use. And you'll see where we're going to tie this into here in just a second. Number 3, anytime I abstain from alcohol and drugs, I am in recovery. Anytime I return to alcohol and drug use, I am in relapse. As long as I do not use drugs and alcohol, I will be in control of myself and my behavior. So the conclusion is relapse is always the result of conscious and deliberate choice to use alcohol and drugs. And not using alcohol and drugs is my primary task in recovery. Not using alcohol and drugs is my primary task in recovery. That is not that is one of the first steps in recovery, right? Hey, Lindy.
Bob's strong right now. Good job, Bob.
Feeling good? You got that?
This is Bob's why.
So Bob's why is I had terrible depression. I just wanted to do right and get back into the rooms. Anguish, bitterness, and hopelessness. It was horrible at the end. I know that feeling. So you wanted to do right and get back into the rooms. So did you have a huge relapse and go through active addiction with a head full of knowledge about recovery and then a belly full of drugs and whiskey or whatever, drugs and alcohol? Because I hear that's terrible. I don't want to find out, but I hear it's terrible. So the error is that not using alcohol and drugs does not guarantee that you will be in control of yourself and automatically recover. Just because you quit drinking and drugging does not automatically guarantee you will be in control of yourself. Not using alcohol and drugs will break the addiction cycle and stop episodes of loss of control caused by intoxication. But as we discussed earlier, when the alcohol, drug-based symptoms are interrupted by abstinence, they are replaced by sobriety-based symptoms. These sobriety-based symptoms can be so severe that they cause you to lose control of your judgment and behavior even when you're sober. What does that mean? I think I have a feeling of that going on right now with me. I think the way that I'm thinking about work right now, you're either in a recovery mindset or you're in a, tell me if you believe this, you're either in a recovery mind frame or you're in relapse, depending on what your thoughts are at. And that's kind of where this is driving to. And I think my thoughts about work and not taking gratitude in it and realizing that it's my job affords me to do the things that we do as a family and live life comfortably. And I think that's what it's talking about when it says they can cause you to lose control of your judgment and your behavior, because my judgment is off. And say I make a rash decision and just throw my, cards on the table and walk out of work and say, screw you. And then I come home and I think about it and my check doesn't come in and we can't pay the mortgage, then we're screwed. And that could be a problem that's post-recovery, made not in addiction, made not intoxicated, that has severe consequences on my family and my life. 14 years before. Okay. 14 years before his relapse. So 14 years with nothing stronger than aspirin. I went back out for 2 years. Wow, 2 years. Then an anguish. Now I have 12 years again. Nothing stronger than aspirin. Yeah, Bob, I'm with you on that. I don't take any mind-altering drugs except caffeine, Advil. I take the Advil. I like the anti-inflammatory. That's the only thing that works for me. And what else? Just like a Red Bull. I'll drink a Red Bull. And then I'm drinking right here is chamomile tea, but I don't take any antidepressants. I haven't taken any maintenance. I know they gave me something when I was in the hospital detoxing from alcohol, and then they gave me a pill. I don't even know how long I took it, maybe a week or two. But I guess if I would have drank during that time I was taking this pill, I would have been really, really sick. I don't even remember what it was called. You done? Link's out of here. He's tired and bored. Hey, Felice, I read some of the big book earlier today, and it said we have an allergy to alcohol and drugs. It's also said that if we continued the way we were, it can't get better. That's true. That's true. We're so allergic that we take it and we break out in handcuffs. The stresses of work can complicate one's reality. Yes. And that's what's happened with me. And I'm having a hard time staying engaged while I'm there. I have things I need to do, but my mind is gone. I feel like I am ADD from what I've been tested and stuff, but but I have a hard time focusing, staying on task. And then that leads me to not being sincere, and then it leads me to being critical of people and management, and then I start spouting off at the mouth with my bad attitude, and it's kind of bad because I spread that negativity throughout the crew, and it's already a time of. So tomorrow I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to, with intention, have a positive attitude to when people approach me, that I'm not the person that zaps their energy, but I'm a giver of energy, and I will lift them up if they are down. And that will be my mission tomorrow, to share the good word and be a positive attitude.
What is the Sinclair method?
Sinclair method. I don't know. Where did you read that at? Let's find out. The Sinclair method for alcohol use disorder is evidence-based treatment for problematic drinking developed by Dr. John Sinclair. Unlike traditional treatments that require complete abstinence from alcohol, the Sinclair method allows you to continue drinking alcohol at the beginning of your treatment.
That's that one you tried, remember? That chick had that YouTube video about the naltrexone.
Oh yeah, the naltrexone.
And you tried it, and then I tried one, and they were weird. They make you feel funky.
So the naltrexone is like a receptor blocker, so it blocks your receptors from receiving any good serotonin that's released from your brain or the reward center from when you do start drinking. So you just feel blah, like I don't feel like it. But it doesn't just work towards alcohol. You're blah about everything. You're just like whatever. You just become like a zombie. I hated it. I took one for one day and I was like done. I did try the Sinclair method. It's supposed to take your urge and your desire completely away, and it is like a miracle because you don't care. You're just like, I don't care. If it takes and blocks your receptors from receiving the reward of your brain's chemicals, so it blocks that. But on top of that, it blocks it for the whole thing, just like I just said. I didn't like it at all. I think I just laid in bed and just was like, I'm tired, but I'm not tired. I'm bored, but I'm not bored. I just felt like a zombie. I was like, I am not taking those ever again. And so I didn't. So I drank for another 8 months. Probably drank for another 8 months. Where are we at? Anything we need to hit on? You're way behind.
No, we were just talking about that one.
Stresses in education and work, yes, drive me to want to drink too. Jails, institutions, and death. Oh my. Some Wizard of Oz. I only use caffeine, tobacco. Oh, that's right. I use this too. I'm a vapor. So nicotine. I'm right there with you on the nicotine. I forgot about that. Ibuprofen for headaches. I don't like the D's, like Claritin D or any of those kind of D's. Oh, I hate the way they make me feel. So I stay clear of those. Support my staff. That's awesome. Tomorrow will be a good day. Bob, I'm with you on that one. Oh, no, the Sinclair method's different than getting real sick. The one pill they gave me, it doesn't do anything to you. It doesn't change your mindset, it doesn't give you any type of emotion or feeling or nothing. You don't even know you took it. But if you drink alcohol, it does something when the alcohol and that pill mixes that puts you in the bathroom, puke. I guess you wish you were dead. It gets you so sick. It is a distraction. I had to learn how to come home after work and process the stress of the day without my normal coping mechanism, which was blackout drunk and waking up shaken and hungover, actually waking up drunk. Many alcoholics who relapse report they became so dysfunctional in recovery that a return to addictive use seemed like a positive option. So you stop drinking, you stop using, you take away your coping mechanism, and then you come out and you're not in recovery. You're just living life without the coping mechanism of alcohols and drugs, that your life becomes dysfunctional, and returning, it's a good idea. I'm going back to drinking. Screw this. Screw feeling emotions. Screw dealing with life as in reality. I can relate to that. They were in so much pain that they started to believe that the only three choices left. They were in so much pain that they start believing that there's only three choices left: alcohol and drug use to medicate pain, suicide, or insanity. Given those three options, the alcohol or drug use seemed like the best choice. Yeah. Well, it's one of those three. I'm going to either go insane, I'm going to kill myself, or I could go drink some beer or whiskey or smoke some weed or, take a Loratab. And that's how we do. We rationalize things, and then you justify them, and then you're thinking, well, it's better than the alternative. Abstinence from alcohol and drug use is necessary for recovery, but it is not the only goal in recovery. Learning how to live a meaningful and comfortable life without alcohol or drug use is the primary goal of recovery. Sobriety-based symptoms include short-term and long-term withdrawal, the inability to cope with life without alcohol and drug, and the crisis created by the biopsychosocial damage of addiction will interfere with the ability to have a comfortable and meaningful life without alcohol and drugs. In order to recover, it is important to stop using alcohol and other mood-altering drugs and then learn how to cope with withdrawal and the stresses of life without returning to the use of alcohol and drugs. So abstinence is not the only goal of recovery. It's the first step. So then it goes on to mistaken beliefs about the warning signs of relapse. So warning signs of relapse. What are your guys' warning signs? Do you know yours? Have you gotten to know yourself? I'm sure like Merck and Bob, you guys got some years under your belt, and you've probably learned. Merck had 6 years of working in recovery now after 11-year sobriety. I'm sure he knows himself really well. He probably wakes up and has a twinge of emotion and knows what to do. And he's probably been through most situations, because we face the same situations throughout the year over and over and over again throughout our habitual circles in life that we live. I'm sure you get to know yourself. I haven't gotten to that point quite yet. Today, I was triggered today. We went on a walk. I didn't say anything about it because I just brushed it off. They don't last that long, and I definitely don't entertain them. But when I walked past a house that I usually drink at, and I was like, ooh, I just got that shiver down me. Like, I want to go up there and hang out and drink whiskey. Salt Nick.
Let's see.
Have I ever tried Salt Nick? I used to vape those devices, but switched over like 2 years ago. Don't mean to go off topic. I've tried friends that have it at work, but I have one flavor. Once I find a flavor and a thing, I stick with it. Every time, like, we go to breakfast, I'm going to try something new, but I always end up with the dang chicken fried steak and eggs over easy with mashed potatoes and wheat toast. And then if I go to a Spanish restaurant, I usually get the same thing. I usually get the same thing every freaking where I go. I don't like trying anything new as far as like that stuff goes and this stuff goes, because I'm like, I'm going to try it. And then I go to try it and I'm like, damn it, I should have just had what I know I like. It's the kind of person I am. So I did the tame you down with Adderall method. My dealer came by with a handful saying, I know how hard you've been trying to get off the hard stuff. Took about a week, got off the meth. Get off the meth and the Adderall.
Yeah, they ran out and called the sponsor. And at the end,
breaking pills in half, but never crashed. I was putting myself to bed with vodka. The Adderall ran out in 2008. I got back into the rooms and started over again. Wow. I was never able to wean or taper. I have to go cold turkey, or there's no chance for me. When I quit this, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm going to take a half a tank today and a quarter tank tomorrow. I'm going to have to just throw it and deal with the cravings and get over it and learn up here how to just use all the tools that I already have to know how to quit and stay quit. I can't taper. It's not an option for me. Merd's constantly hesitant. Yes, people think I'm numb because I control my emotions so much.
I think people think that about me sometimes. I think you've told me that before.
Wake up!
Like, do you have any emotions? Yeah, they're there. Just come out. It's hard to get them out, I guess. Warning signs for warning signs of
relapse for me if I start obsessing about it.
In the same way, I'm constantly hesitant.
So if Lynn B, you start obsessing, you kind of start fantasizing and letting it just mull around in your mind. And that's that's when you're heading down that road.
Sweet.
Are you online here, Sober James? I just got your reply on YouTube.
You eventually did the cold turkey.
I'll reply to him real quick. And then I'll continue reading some of this.
Yeah, it's hard for a spouse to understand what recovery is like. I think it helped me a lot. LT would take me to we'd actually go as a family to all his AA meetings and on the weekends. And then we did family night together. But it really opened my eyes sitting in the AA rooms, what everybody goes through. She sent them here.
Where? Oh, okay. Keep talking. No dead air. Let's try not to have any dead air.
No dead air.
No dead air. No dead air.
Merc, do you take the person you're in a relationship with? Do you take her to meetings with you? Does she have any interest to go? Or him with the world we're living in now?
We're streaming, so this is going to run really slow. I'm not going to look this up right now, Rena. Oh, look at that. I'll pull these up on the next broadcast because I don't want to start interfering with our stream. We might get booted off because of the internet, clogging up the internet. But Rena, we'll talk about that tomorrow night if you want to. I'll go through them and set it up so I can even post them back here if you want me to.
Of course.
Healthy distractions like staying busy and occupied, working out, whatever I can get around. Nice. Keeping yourself distracted. But how long? I was talking to my counselor about that, and he's like, it's good to stay distracted during the first year or so, but what do you do after that? I mean, you have to face it eventually. The distractions don't last forever. And if they, and the distractions actually become numb after a minute. So how do you actually face that moment? I guess it's healing. It's a healing process. A common mistaken belief is that relapse just suddenly and spontaneously occurs. Let me read that again. A common mistaken belief is that relapse just suddenly and spontaneously occurs without warning signs. Is that true? Does all of a sudden, dang it, I relapsed? Or were there warning signs? This belief produces a feeling of helplessness and powerlessness. Relapse remains a mystery. Relapse remains a mysterious process over which recovering people have little or no control. All they can do is hope and pray that relapse does not occur. Hope and pray that relapse doesn't occur because it's spontaneous and it doesn't have a warning sign. That's a common misconception of relapse, that it just all of a sudden, wham, you're relapsed. No, she has no interest. It might take her look at her own flaws, and she don't want to do that yet. Yeah, I was in years into sobriety when we met, so she thinks it's irrelevant. It's kind of cool when that makes me think of every time we were in the group therapy or we go to AA, you can't help and you just see everybody's spirits lifted and they're telling their stories of recovery and how they're better people in society. That people that have never been through addiction or drug abuse needs to go to a 12-step program and needs to learn these tools and these conditioning of the new way, the new mindset, new ways of thinking, because the whole world, in my opinion, would be a better place if everybody did. And I think you're right. A lot of people don't. Maybe they feel that when they get there, and once they start looking inside, because how it works, chapter 5 of the big book says you have to be completely and utterly and deeply honest, right? And to be deeply honest with yourself is not easy. And that's kind of what's cool about hitting rock bottom with drugs and alcohol. It makes us more willing to do that for sure. Our pride, it rips us of pride and ego.
He agrees. Yeah, that's tough if she hadn't seen you go through it yet. Because I don't know what my attitude would be if I never seen you. Well, I guess I did at the beginning Because you were already an addict with meth. So you were, and then we met. I don't know.
Yeah, meth was a whole nother ball game.
Guess you just have to want to have sympathy for it, I suppose. And if she doesn't, that would make it hard. I don't know if she ever did want to go to a meeting, though. Those are very eye-opening. Cold turkey, the thing that triggered the whole thing was a Christmas Eve service. Little bird-like woman saying, "Oh, holy night." Hit every note.
Oh,
That's a great song. I suggest the Celine Dion version.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
that's a
that
good
one is
song.
amazing. I love that song.
Right there with you, Bob. Not true. What did Alicia say about not true?
I'm not sure what's not true.
What's not true, Alicia? We remember when you put in the comments that we, I believe, received them, and then you hear our response to them with somewhere between a 15 to maybe 30-second lag. And so if we come across a comment, I may have already said it 30 seconds ago and not know what you're talking about. So keep that in mind and help us out so we can stay on top of conversation.
Somewhere that's how practicing the self-control is important.
Oh, definitely. I tell myself every day that I know I am going to pass a liquor store somewhere that's alcohol related. Yes, amen.
A spiritual experience. I remember once about 10 years before I was out in Wyoming on Christmas Eve near Crazy Woman Creek. Song came on the radio far away.
Denver, maybe. Awesome. It's a great song.
Halloween, Thanksgiving,
Halloween.
actually fall. Way to clarify.
We talked about holidays.
It was her. She's like, winter holidays.
Oh. There's that perfectionist coming out in Lynn again.
Well, now we know you're not perfect. And we still love you, Lynn. Relapse is not true.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's not true. It doesn't suddenly and spontaneously occur. And closing back doors is
We're caught up.
Huge. You have to close those back doors. You got to get rid of the people in your phone list. You've got to tell the doctor if you have to that you're allergic. I know friends from my IOP that tell the doctor, because the doctor won't just take you off the list or whatever. You have to say, if I take it, I'm allergic, it'll kill me. And then they're forced to write it down. And that's it's tough to do that.
What did Mike say? One night I was broke 4 months of sobriety.
Read it loud so if we were down.
One night I broke 4 months of sobriety when some coworkers got me to come outside and smoke a blunt. Figured I'd be fine after a few hours, but when I got home, my wife realized I was high and smoked.
Uh-oh. Is that a big fight?
Us wives, we know these things.
You were probably smiling.
She's probably seen it in your eyes. Eyes don't lie. They're like Shakira's hips. They don't lie.
It's a great Christmas song. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. It's also great. Frank Zappa, the greatest American guitarist of all time. I would have to.
And close them back doors.
I don't know about Frank, Polly. Have you heard of Buckethead? What about Buckethead? He's up there as a legend in my book.
We all know Lynn. Wink, wink.
I need to make something crooked for her. Here we go.
We'll never fix it. I like to go, my stepdad, he likes his things all perfect. And sometimes we sneak in his office and just rearrange little certain things.
Yeah, he is everything. In his medicine cabinet,
driving bonkers.
His underwear drawer, everything is perfect. So the truth is that there are many warning signs that precede relapse. Once you learn to recognize and manage the early warning signs of relapse, you can stop the relapse process before it has a chance to get started. If you are locked into the mistaken belief that relapse in alcohol drug use, you will be able to identify only very few relapse warning signs. People who believe that relapse is only alcohol and drug use will only identify warning signs that relate to drinking or using drugs. And these warning signs are typically thinking about alcohol and drug use, developing a compulsion to use alcohol or drugs, placing oneself in a situation where others are drinking and using drugs, stopping attendance at self-help groups or other recovery. So what that's saying, I'm sure you understood, but in other words, just because you're contemplating it or you're having a craving or you say, oh, I stopped going to AA and I reduced it down to once a month, those are warning signs. They're actually deeper than that. These people believe they will always know when they are experiencing the warning signs. They fail to recognize that denial carries over into sobriety and can block the recognition of these warning signs. The final steps in this erroneous reasoning process goes something like this. Once I am aware of the warning sign, I will always be capable of coping with them, even if I want to. So then we can review some of these. But
I was giving Lynn a thumbs up.
sweet. In 2018, 2019, I also drank on Valentine's and St. Patty's, but I stayed sober on those days this year. Yeah, me too, finally. First time in 5-6 years for me. Every holiday, except for what? Christmas? What, June, July, August, September, October, November. So Halloween. Halloween and Christmas are the 2 holidays I've had sober. So any other holiday, including up through my birthday when it's in June, if you want to send me a present,
We'll
I'll
give
be
her address
sober.
later.
Oh, speaking of that, I don't have the super chats. I don't have Patreon or nothing like that. I'll never ask for money. But if you guys do want to help me out, just hit like on the video and share it with people. Share my videos with people. And then if you really, really want to help, you could go back through, put a playlist on, and just put your phone down and let it play. You don't even have to watch it. Just let it circulate through my channel. Those 3 things.
Pretend watch it.
Like my videos, share my videos. That would help me a ton. So let's review some of these mistaken beliefs. All warning signs relate to drinking or drug use or missing AAs. I will always know when I'm experiencing these relapse warnings. And once I'm aware of the warnings, I will always be able to cope with them if I want to. So the conclusion to that is, as long as I am not thinking about using and I'm going to meetings, I'm fine. So if you fall into the category of, well, I haven't been thinking about using and I'm going to meetings, I'm going to be good. Not true. As our guest 3-4 nights ago, he had kept going to the meetings during the week. He transitioned, but he kept going to the meetings regularly, and then he was attending AA and NA, and then his wife left, and then he went right back to the bottle for a couple days. The problem with these beliefs is very serious. Thinking about alcohol and drug use, feeling a compulsion to use, placing oneself in a situation of alcohol and drug use, and stopping recovery activities are serious relapse warning signs. But these warning signs occur very late in the relapse process. By the time these signs develop, many alcoholics are already out of control in their judgment and behavior. So you've already lost control once you start contemplating and you start thinking about drinking, is what that's telling us. And once you stop going to meetings, it's a result of something that's later in your relapse. Your relapse started before that. As a result, they may be unable to recognize or take action to interrupt these warning signs. So what happened before that led up to that relapse? You got to keep going back. I made a video on complacency. And if you go back and watch it, it's a pretty good video, I think. But it talks about how complacency can kill us. And it's catching those super early warning signs. Italians can talk with their hands without saying a single word. I ask God to remove my obsession of drugs and alcohol. It is very tough to change my thinking patterns. Yeah. Bob Smith says, I wanted to get sober again so bad. I wanted it with all my heart. I wanted to do right. I wanted to be pleasing to God, to my parents, my kids, my community. I wanted to get back into AA. Wow, I know that guilt feeling, Bob. I know that. That reminds me of the second time I went to jail. I was in where they process you in. You're like locked down for 23 hours out of the 24 hours of the day. And I was in there just beating myself up, thinking all those thoughts. And I kept having this because I didn't have a wife or a kid at that point in life. But I kept thinking, I had 2 nephews, and I kept thinking about how much of a horrible uncle, an example as an uncle I was being, and I was just being a piece of crap and wanted to get clean and wanted to get better. And I eventually did. Every day is a holiday when you're an alcoholic. It's a constant. Yeah, I never needed an excuse. Every night was a party. She gave 2 thumbs up. That's funny. What's she rewatch?
Your videos.
Oh, thank you.
She's giving you some playtime.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bob's about to comment. Watch.
Bob is? Is it his turn?
Bob's here. It comes. It's coming. This is behind my phone. It's pretty far behind. There it goes.
So, mistaken beliefs about motivation. Most recovering people observed the fact that relapse is relatively frequent occurrence. As a result, they must develop some ways to explain why. Given the preceding mistaken beliefs, many recovering people develop the following erroneous beliefs. If I relapse, I'm not motivated to recover. So that's not true. If you relapse, it doesn't mean you're not motivated to recover. I will recover when I hurt enough. Oh, I loved this part. I read this earlier today. So pay attention to this one. I will recover when I hurt enough as a result of my alcohol and drug use. If I relapse, I have not hurt enough and want to stay sober. So if I relapse, I have not hurt enough to want to stay sober. So obviously I haven't hit the bottom yet, is almost what that says. So relapse prone people need to hurt more in order to interrupt their relapse patterns. That's a misconception. You don't need to hurt more. You don't need to hit bottom more. I'll let this continue to tell it before I go blabbing on.
Lynn's just showing her humanity today.
Nice. Oh, dang, I took the flag off. too. I
Sure
should've
do
put it on.
love you, Lynn. Polly. Yeah, poly addiction is evil and change is tougher, but I'm glad you're well and doing better. Sobriety is the most important thing in my life. It wasn't easy being a newcomer again. I had to eat a big slice of humble pie about after 14 years. I used to be kind of a big shot in sobriety.
Oh, dang. Yeah, it happens. And it's kind of humbling to see, too, a big shot in sobriety hit the rock bottom and come out. It gets a lot of people to reevaluate themselves and come out and confess some of the secret, because we're only as healthy as our deepest secret, right?
Team Felicia, you're doing a great thing. Honestly, I was thinking about using a few days ago. I went out for a walk for a few hours. I kept thinking about it as a power. It is powerful stuff out there.
Yeah, we're glad you didn't use Pauline. We're glad you're here.
Yes.
And we're glad, when we get comments like that we're actually helping. Because that's what we're doing this for, is I was a drunken piece of crap. And I know step 12 tells us to carry this message. And it just so happens that I had this huge desire to do so. And I loved film and I love editing. I love cameras. And once I got out of my IOP and kind of started getting things back to normal around here, I was like, you know what? I'm starting a YouTube channel and it's going to be based on recovery and I'm going to help somebody. And then all of a sudden this coronavirus and we're locked down and we have the ability, everything was set in place perfectly. It's like I am in God's will to helping people and getting this message out there to stay sober, stay clean, the community, the fellowship, none of us in this chat here, well, except for Dawn, I've never shooken their hand or given them a hug or anything like that, but there's that feeling that we just intimately already know each other, and we know each other because we're like each other. And that's what feels good about AA and NA. You walk in that room and you see a bunch of people. It's almost like looking in a mirror. They're just like you. Their stories differ. Their ages and careers differ, but yes, please. Thank you.
4-year-old nephew. It's like a voodoo spell. You're trying so bad to break it.
Yeah,
Lynn has
it
had
is
enough
like a voodoo
pain.
spell. How do you break the voodoo spell?
Love you, Lynn.
Can't spell. Don't worry.
We're
We will
only
not
as
judge you on
sick
your
as our
perfectionism.
secrets.
We're only as sick as our secrets.
Humble pie is good after you digest it and sleep on it.
Merc's true. Right on that one.
Same
So this is a devastating conclusion for relapse-prone people to reach. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome.
It may cause you to question your sanity if you know that you want to get well, but you are unable to do it. This destroys self-worth and self-esteem and produces shame and guilt. It is true that some chemically dependent people relapse because they do not believe they are alcoholic, and they have not accepted their alcoholism because they have not developed a consciousness severe enough to convince themselves. But this relapse pattern only applies to people in the pre-treatment period of recovery. So that relapse pattern, so what it's talking about there is that I haven't hurt bad enough to want to quit. I haven't hit rock bottom hard enough to stay in recovery. But that relapse, that pattern only applies to the people in pre-treatment period of recovery. It does not apply to the relapse-prone people who know they are addicted and cannot safely use drugs or alcohol, and yet they cannot stay sober no matter how hard they try. Most relapse-prone alcoholics are in terrible pain. In fact, the pain is so severe it prevents them from functioning when sober. The severe pain actually prevents them from benefiting from their recovery program. So pain does not prevent relapse. It may increase the risk. Polly says, I was going insane. I just left and walked around for many hours. I didn't have my phone on me or any money. I broke all trust with my brother, nephew, and mother. They're the only family I have left.
Was this after we talked to you, Polly?
Was this Wednesday?
Raina's glad we started.
Thank you, Raina. That's definitely a God thing. It's a God thing for us, too.
If I'd get more honest, I had to work the steps harder.
Had to work the steps harder. I had to work them again. I had to dig deeper. Yeah, it's amazing. Our counselor, if you have brought your step 4 back to him, he did this to one guy. He brought the step 4 back and he went like this. He's all, it doesn't feel like you got everything in there. You better go back and do it again. And the guy was like, what? And he went back and redid it, and it was for the better. He got deeper, and he'll be on our show next Wednesday. He's actually my sponsor. Our plan is to have him on the show next Wednesday. And this guy's got an amazing story of his struggle with drugs and into recovery, and what he's doing in recovery is some I look way up to. Me and him have some future plans for this state and county, and we're going places. That's the plan. Pray for us that it works. I had so much pain and devastation in sobriety, and I have never wanted to use. I thank God for that. That's awesome. That is a blessing. God does remove that from some people just like that. Not me. I still get triggered. I was triggered earlier today walking past a house I love to go up to and drink. He's a 70-year-old dude who was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Dude's got story after story. And as soon as I walk in the house, he would slide a glass across the table, grab a freaking half-gallon of whiskey, slide it over to me. I'd put it on ice, and we'd sit there and talk for hours until I'd come home as drunk as I wanted to be.
A lot of times it was usually on
Sunday. I'd go up there on Sunday conveniently because I didn't have any alcohol because I drank it all on Saturday. And I was going to drink beer from around here because it was 3.2 at the time. Still, beer wouldn't have done nothing. It would have done a little better. But many people who are recovering from addictive disease work very hard to recover. They attend counseling and group therapy, and they regularly attend 12-step and helpful groups. Yet they fail to recover. These people develop one or two equally destructive mistaken beliefs. The first mistaken belief is that no form of treatment or self-help group can work. This simply is not true. There are many documented cases of relapse-prone patients who recovered after going back and reapplying themselves to recovery programs that had not worked before. Another attempt at treatment, or AA, is always worth the risk. That makes me think of Bob right there. Bob was eating humble pie because what if that happens to me? I get on this channel, maybe we grow to a few hundred more people every time we get on live, and then all of a sudden one day I come on, or I don't show up for, say we're doing it live every night, hypothetically speaking, and all of a sudden regular people try to tune in and I don't show up for a couple of days, and maybe she tunes in by herself 3 or 4 days later and talks about LT's off the hook. He's gone. Last time I seen him, the last thing I saw was a debit charge at the liquor store. What if that happens? I mean, I'm not above that. It's possible. God forbid. But there's the possibility there, and I don't want to. I want to recover, and I want to catch anything that could lead me there. I want to catch all those pre-warning signs, and I want to learn those about me. So keep me in your prayers, y'all.
Do you want to tell her who your sponsor is?
Oh, Dell Covington. He works up on base. He's actually a wingman advocate up there. He goes up to the Capitol. He's been up with like Trump's administration and all kinds of good stuff. Because there's a lot of money that's been given by the government to our state, to other states, to help with recovery, and it's not being used. It's not being used right, and hopefully we can maybe change that. I've met so many amazing people in sobriety. I look at it that I would disappoint them if I don't want to do. That if you don't want to stay sober, is that what that means? I look at that and I wouldn't want to disappoint them. I wouldn't want to disappoint you either.
Don't want to do it. Yeah, she doesn't want to disappoint all the amazing people she met.
I don't either, but you know how it is when you get in that effort mode? Because I didn't want to make her sad and these guys, you know, the way that I made them feel every time they saw me put that bottle up to my mouth, but I did it anyway. I like you folks. If I was in Salt Lake, Jordan, Provo, Spanish Fork, or whatever it is you live, I'd go to a meeting as you go to. You are doing the attraction, not promotion thing. Sweet. Right on, Bob. And if you ever are out here, you better hit us up so we can meet up. That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
What you saying, Polly?
So the equally destructive belief, is that where I'm at? Okay. An equally destructive belief is the complete opposite. This is the belief that treatment, AA plus professional counseling, is 100% effective for anyone who wants to recover. And the major cause of relapse is the decision to drop out of treatment. With this belief, when people fail at treatment, they assume it is because there is something inherently wrong with them, making it impossible to recover. So look at these mistaken beliefs. No form of treatment or self-help group can help me stay sober. That's mistaken. Or treatment is 100% effective in preventing relapse. If I would have stayed in treatment, 100% it would have helped me. So the conclusion is if I relapse, it is because I am constitutionally incapable of recovery. That's a false thing there.
Do we need to turn our volume up? I don't know, Raina. Many.
No, we're
factors.
good. I have it on my usual setting here. So you see this box right here? This is what controls the microphone and blah, blah, blah. But I have it on my usual 2 clicks from all the way up. So if you might have turned yourself down. Second conclusion, there is no point in getting additional treatment. I can't get well. I don't believe that. Treatment is awesome. That IOP that I went to opened my eyes so much. I would love to be a counselor one day. I need to look into the schooling because that would be the only thing that stops me. It's the dedication and the cost, and by cost, I mean dedication to what it would take to do school. I don't know what it'll take, but that'd be cool to get a counseling certificate of some sort.
That would be cool.
Might be able to do it online or something. I don't know. What do you guys know? Lynn B, with your school stuff, I bet you know how to go about that stuff. I'm not. I'm just a dumb old addict that dropped out of high school.
I would like to look into that biblical counseling more. All I got to do is call Maritza, I guess.
Yep. They're just right down the road. So the fact is, there is good treatment and bad treatment. There is treatment that is effective for some, but not for others. And there is much that is still unknown about what is effective treatment for addictive disease. Some people relapse because they have not attained to the skill to stay sober, but that does not mean that they cannot. Treatment appears to be 20 to 60% successful, depending on how you measure it. That's why I say 30%. And I witnessed it at my IOP. There's a group of us that made it, and there's a bigger group I saw come and go. And it was sad. One girl, we bought her a stroller because we were like trying to show her ways to defeat it, but she wasn't there for the right reason. She was there because her mom forced her to be there. And we tried to help her the best we could, and she was gone. Well, we did the right thing, so I feel okay about that. A history of relapse is by no means a sign that you cannot recover. It is not an indication that you are constitutionally incapable of recovery. It is an indication that you are a pretty typical alcoholic or chemically dependent person, and you need to roll up your sleeves and get back into treatment. Chances are good that if you find a program that uses relapse prevention planning, you will be able to achieve long-term sobriety, or at least learn to stay sober for long periods of time, significantly improving your life. The purpose of this book is to show you how to begin doing just that with accurate information. And that is chapter 3, I think. Nope, chapter 5. Chapter 5 out of Staying Sober. Misconceptions and beliefs about recovery and relapse. So tomorrow we will go through, I think we should all bring to the table. Everybody research a little bit of something. If you guys plan on being here tomorrow night, I know that I will be going live every night at 8 o'clock until the end of the world or things get back to normal and AA and NA resumes. And then I will probably scale back to Tuesday nights and probably a couple nights throughout the week. But I want to get back into producing some of my videos that I have planned for the weekends as well. Some of my skits. I also want to go through like the big book and take some of those stories and actually get actors. And I have people who want to come and do it, not professional actors, but bring some of these stories to life through like I want to produce like little movie skits about recovery and addiction and all that kind of stuff. So I want to have entertaining movie type skits that can be, hopefully I can get good enough at them that they'll be played at IOPs and treatment centers. Like watch this little 20-minute movie and it'll give you an eye opener. So pray that happens for me too.
What was your question?
What was my question? Oh, schooling for counseling. Where would be the best place to look for that? Should I just go to Weber State? Should I go online? Should I just Google it? I don't like when it comes to like doing the school thing. My interests in my life have always been so far from that. I don't even know where to begin. Some sucker, what's that? Stevie Ray Henniger? Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Stephen Henniger. College.
Yeah, like some Stephen Henniger college would probably get me to sign papers for a $20,000 loan or something. What's Bob's heart racing about?
His story up here. He wrecked something.
He wrecked a semi in Provo. It was during all the construction before the Olympics. Wet roads, went to a construction zone, hot, hit the binders too late, and started to jack. Ooh, yeah.
Rest. Jackknifed again.
The truck threw the median, nearly tipped, finally stopped. The bun was toast. Dang. 80,000 pounds sliding out of your control. Yeah. That was my life as a drunk. Did it bring a little flashback to you? Give you an adrenaline rush?
Online community college. I know when I was going to Weber, they had psychology classes. I took one for a few weeks before I was like, I'm done with school. That was a pretty cool class.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. I suck at schooling, like I said. So if there's any link or something, let me know. Weber State's a good start. Okay. Oh, man, then you have to do, like, I just want to go to a school.
You're so picky. I don't want to do that one.
Well, I was trying to find schooling for film and photography, and they have a little thing at Weber State, but then you got to take English and you got to take math. And I'm like, I just want to learn photography. Why do I need to learn all that? But I can understand the English part with photography, maybe writing little cute short stories, all perfect underneath a picture, or learning how to write scripts and all that kind of stuff. But come on, do I have to take all the, what are they called? Generals?
Yeah, I think some generals are
I
useless.
don't want to take stupid generals. I just want to learn the skill. But I guess if you don't know how to read, I don't know. Okay, I get it. I don't know.
You still think it's stupid.
I hate it. It makes me mad. Just teach me what I'm here for. I've never done anything in moderation except maybe these steps.
Brigham Young is in Utah, probably.
Yeah, it's in Utah, but it's about 5 hours away from us. Bring 'em young. Bring 'em young or don't bring 'em at all. I think he coined that phrase. Hey, what's Bruce saying? I'm digging the videos. It's my first time listening in, but I needed to get back around recovery. Good job, Bruce. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you are here letting us spew recovery with you. Hopefully, what we talk about tonight will give us strength for the week. That tomorrow we can go into Monday, and me in particular, and get out of bed with a positive attitude and to not instantly wake up into a character defect. Because once you start playing around in them character defects, that is the mindset to relapse. And continued, Monday could turn into Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I could be freaking pounding whiskey because I'm so fed up with my brain. So based on this relapse prevention that we're going through, I think we're just going to continue to go through this book every night, and then we'll pick another book and we'll go through that book. So if you have any suggestions, throw them out there, and we'll try to continue to stay. And then Sunday nights, we'll hit it really hard so that tomorrow morning we can wake up in recovery mindsets and we can maybe even set goals like, okay, tomorrow when I wake up, I'm going to do this. And the first thing should be is hit our knees and pray and focus on one thing. Maybe think about last night and one topic, chew on that topic on the way to work. And the first person you greet when you get to work, smile and, you know what I mean? Say something uplifting.
A gratitude list wouldn't be a bad idea.
And yeah, maybe do a gratitude list.
Alicia wants to know what to bring tomorrow.
Nice. So tomorrow night, we're going to look at some relapse warning signs, because we talked about that just because you're thinking about using, just because you stopped going to meetings doesn't mean that's when you started to relapse, or that's your warning signs. Your warning signs actually started before that. So bring some of your warning signs. I'll bring some of my warning signs that I see in my life. And maybe some that you recognize about yourself will help me recognize them about myself, and vice versa. Because that book just said, and I agree through experience, that once we get sober, that denial that we brought from active addiction bleeds off into sobriety and our character defects, our habits, and the way that we think and live. And so I think if we can help each other come out of that denial and stay on catching these warning signs earlier, I think the earlier and earlier and earlier that you can catch warning signs, the better chance you have of not relapsing. Because I would hate to if I relapse, I'm not just going to drink a half a pint this time. I'll tell you that. I'm going down with the ship.
I got Millie's fingernails just hanging out.
Some night classes, some online, start collecting credits. All right, I'll start looking into it. I got a comment the other day that somebody was hoping that I go for it. And if God wants me to, then if it's his will, I should go do it. If not, then I shouldn't. Early morning positivity. Okay, so number 1, pray. Number 2, positive thoughts on your way to work. And number 3, the first person you run into, the first person you see when you get to your workplace or whatever, if it's a plant at a greenhouse, Bob, lift them up with something motivational or just a smile, a hi, you know what I mean? Something positive. Because I'll go into work like, F this place, I don't want to be here. The first person that comes up to me, I would have been like, I don't want to be here, but I'm going to enjoy that moment and greet the first person I see with a smile and not a handshake, because he might have the coronavirus, but
a 6-foot wave.
Oh, 6-foot wave, smile, and something uplifting. Hey, you look nice today. Hey, nice hairdo, or whatever. Hey, I've been thinking about you all week. How are you doing? Inquire about their day. Maybe say something that'll give them a positive vibe, charge of energy to help their day be positive, and see if we can do that whole pay it forward thing of positive energy so that they start feeling and speaking positively. That would be good. I think that would help everybody tomorrow. Did I not read that one? Oh. Sponsor's been making you work. Oh, how about everybody bring one warning sign tomorrow night if you decide to tune in. One good warning sign that you see in yourself, and one good, solid, positive note from your gratitude list. Don't give it tonight, though. Don't ruin it for tomorrow. Take all those. Damn it, Lynn. It's not what I wanted to hear. That'll take me another, what? That's 2 years. Generals are 2 years, I believe.
I feel like they're pointless because you did it all in high school.
I didn't.
I did it all in high school. You did it all in your GED.
Alicia, we're glad you're here too. We all need to go meet up at Raina's house. Go kick her door down and say hello. The greatest thing I've learned is be kind to people, be positive. The past year has helped me grow more than my whole life just from positivity and kindness. Awesome. I don't know if you guys watch Gary Vee, but I've been getting a lot of motivation from that guy. And they filmed him. He's been documented his whole life this last couple of years. But he's owns a huge company. He's worth a lot of money. But he popped into all the meetings that were happening. And he popped in, hey, is everybody in here being kind to each other? Is this meeting going kindly? He was checking everybody on their kindness. I thought that was really cool.
That was cool. Len says that you can just take the classes you want. That's cool.
You could just take the classes you're interested if you're not looking to earn a degree. Do I need a degree to be I probably would.
Probably need one to be a counselor.
I should text Tavia. There's a lot of work to do. The plasticity of the human mind. Yeah, baby. No doubt. Say something nice. Yep, take interest in others. It's hard to do when you're in your character defects to be compassionate, sincere. For me anyway, is hard. Oh, dang it, she moved.
Who moved?
I said we were gonna go kick her door down and say hi.
Oh.
Alicia, because Alicia's in Salt Lake too.
Not anymore.
Turn the dial down on the narcissism and access to personality problems. Turn the dial up on empathy and compassion. Dude, that's good. I like that. Because everybody's narcissism's through the roof. Yeah, dude. I agree with that, Bob. That is awesome. Don, you still with us out there? You still watching? No handshake. See, that makes me think of how big is that?
I'm telling you, I'm taping my desk off tomorrow.
Where's your phone at? Is your phone playing it?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seconds. There's a 6-second delay. Huh. Interesting. What you doing, honey?
Still on my charger. I lost one of your fingernails. I only have 2 now.
All right, so I think we're going to wrap this up because I have to positively go to work tomorrow. We will go through the daily meditation, daily reflection. Say the serenity. Go see if Link wants to say the serenity prayer with us.
He went downstairs.
Mike Hawk, if that's the mic you're talking about, he was here a minute ago. I don't know if he's still here or not. Yes, Merc. Amen to Bob. That was good. So tomorrow, 3 things. Wake up and pray, chew on positivity, compassionately greet somebody with positivity. I'll do it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Yep, 2 years.
My favorite is to make Stephanie laugh first thing in the morning.
That's easy.
Because I love her laugh. It's so funny.
Yeah, I like her
So I
laugh
just
too.
make sure she laughs first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I like Stephanie. She's awesome. What's the date? Alexa, what's the date? 22? Is it the 22nd? No, it is the 22nd. Linky! We're going to wait for Linky to come up. He loves this part. No more struggle. Just because you're on camera doesn't mean you have to act like a goofball.
Okay.
So it's no more struggle. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. When AA found me, I thought I was in for a struggle and that AA might provide the strength. I needed to beat alcohol. What are you guys laughing at? You guys not laughing?
No, he's being a goofball.
Oh, you guys want to make me laugh.
Don't make Dad laugh. Stop it.
Okay, starting over. When AA found me, I thought I was in for a struggle and that AA might provide the strength I needed to beat alcohol. Victorious in that fight, who knows what other battles I could win. I would need to be strong though. All my previous experience with life proved that. Today, I do not have the struggle or exert my will. If I take those 12 steps and let my higher power do the real work, my alcohol problem disappears all by itself. My living problems also cease to be struggles. I just have to ask whether acceptance or change is required. It is not my will, but his will that needs to be done. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yes, smash that like button. And make sure you
Smash it.
guys want to help me out. Smash that like button. Share my videos with people.
Subscribe.
Whatever social media platforms you guys like to be on, share it around there. Subscribe if you're not, obviously. And if you're really bored and you got 2 devices, just throw my channel up and hit a playlist and just let it play. That would help me a ton.
Hey, Raina,
And I thank you in advance.
looking at you,
Let's everybody look at Raina.
looking at your soul.
We're looking at you, Raina. We are looking at you.
We're stopping.
Yes, and invite friends. Yes, Bob. Invite your friends to the show. We would love to have them. And with that, we're going to end this with the Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
And with that, we will end. You guys have a great night, and we will
Peace.
see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock Mountain Time.
We recover better together.
We recover better together.
Raina, we don't have AdSenses. We don't ask for money yet.
Okay.
God bless you too, Bob. Have a good night.